Alright guys, there's a bit more daylight on the go here, so taking that into account, it's hard to see where we can go wrong. There's shining a light on us, you know. Anyway, everybody likes Joe Calzaghe, so he was a southpaw fighter. He led with the right. Early in his career, you know, straight punches, and then he would throw in kind of coffin shots, slaps like that as well, which is just part of his style, and it was part of him getting those fast combos and overwhelming some of his early opponents against the rope to a point where as a TKO, you know, they couldn't stand up against what he was bringing. The thing about him is, if you watch the Lacey fight, which was kind of his breakout fight as well as international recognition and stuff goes, I'll attempt to do it from the right hand stance, but you know, in comes Lacey, you know, as he comes like this, around, Lacey keeps trying to catch him, but he keeps turning him, and his balance and footwork and his IQ is too good for Lacey to be able to keep up with him. I think that's probably maybe one of the most overlooked aspects of Calzaghe is, you know, it's hard to say just straight up boxing brain, because that's only part of it, you know. There's an artistry there, whatever his father must have put in him as well, and like he says himself, he's an entertainer, moves around like that. Hit that last hook. He's the sort of guy, he'll just put an exclamation point on the end of a phrase. You're like, wow, that was great. And it doesn't matter if some of these punches are taps, because he just throw 9 of them, you know. He could throw straight punches down the pipe. Again, stepping off. The nature of his footwork and such, I imagine, was such that his step wasn't predictable, as he always steps up the same way at the same angle, because he's quite an improvisational fighter. You know, it's probably comes from his dad playing a bit of jazz and all that there. R.I.P. Enzo, you know. So it's kind of like that, you know. Sometimes he'd drive down with those ones, you know, and then it was like this. It looked great. It looked great. Never mind the demoralization effect that it had on Lacey. Like, you know, when he fought Kessler, by now he had the attention of the American boxing community and the boxing media, and so he wanted to show now his greatest artistry, you know, and probably, you know, over the head of that, he lost like the first, maybe, let's say 4 of the first 5 rounds or something. And no doubt Enzo give him the hair dryer and all that there, you know. And so that was what I see when he fought. And his head moving, he was swinging in and out, getting caught with the occasional silly thing, because a big part of how he was selling this fight was that this was like a work of art, kind of, you know. I never heard of Van Gogh or Picasso having to take, you know, 100 punches to the head. And it started to work for him. He's stepping out. Kessler walks in. A bit too much force now. That was a bit too much force. You know, he makes it look good. And I think he had Kessler stunned in that fight. If there hadn't been the adversity and stuff like that, it mightn't quite have been the same. Against Hopkins, Jesus Christ, I mean, Hopkins made things very hard. But of course, it's easy to say with the benefit of the slow motion replays and things like that, and hearing, you know, somebody like Emmanuel Stewart being able to pick out this and that, that, you know, Hopkins was doing the same thing every time. In with the right hand, I think he was stepping out by whatever game plan he had worked quite well, didn't it? Step out and then. And I think too that one of the things that made the Hopkins fight like a good one is that You know, Hopkins has that record in the middleweights and stuff like that. Well, he's an absolute warrior. He would not be denied. You know what I mean? So, regardless of ages and stuff like that, the two of them was quite old to be fair. You know, but Joe retired a couple of years later, and Hopkins went on for another 10 years or something. You know what I mean? So, even that says a lot. And plus, beating the American where he did, the fact that he was up against it in the fight. Again, he managed to do whatever it was that he had to do. A lot of quick combinations inside. They mightn't have always been the tidiest. But I think it was Kellerman said at the time, you know, Joe Calzaghe gives you every reason to score for him. It's some worth nothing. And then who did he fight? Roy Jones Jr. Excuse the length of this, please, guys. Roy Jones Jr. First couple of rounds. He was under the cosh, you know. He went down he got caught with a forearm or something, didn't he? And then once he had read him and he knew what he was doing, he was, you know, big hook coming in and just come right in like that. Yeah, man. Do like Joe Calzaghe, man. Proper good fighter, like. Proper good fighter. I don't know if he's a fighter you can learn from. I've heard people talk about the connection between him and Lomachenko. The steps out, and Lomachenko would do slightly different, but quite a similar move. Like, his was a bit more straight angles. Joe was and like dancing out and out, with that panache, you know, just that beautiful little finish, you know. So yeah, I suppose the only thing we could do is learn how to slap. I'll do it real quick. So my hand hit the chair. I should step around, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, what's there to say, really? I can only do it here, right? I should have kept this just a lacy, but don't worry about it. You know. So here it comes. You know. Lacy comes rushing in, going for the big right hand. Steps back. He falls in that way to catch it. You know, it was Matador and Bull type stuff. Look at my hair, man. Anyway, he's got to be one of the best, hasn't he? Calzaghe, like. He's definitely up there, man. Yeah, could have been some interesting fights, him and Ward. Do love Andre Ward as well. Great fighter. Would have been a very difficult fight for Calzaghe. A very difficult fight for Ward. Talk about will not be denied, you know. One guy, the clinician, you know. All of this. Calzaghe's more of a free form, you know. But Canelo, nah. Calzaghe would have wiped the floor on, wouldn't he? Wouldn't he? You know, kid. You know, take it easy.